break, Matrix. If you've just joined us, we are still doing your final exam prep to help you with the upcoming exams. If you're constantly running out of data, then this next competition is just for you. Wazo Matrix is bringing you the hashtag WazoWinner competition, where 2 lucky matriculants stand a chance to win 2 gigs of data. All you need to do to enter is head on over to our Facebook page and all of the details will be there. Thank you so much, Tando, and over to you.
Thank you, Luni. Boys and girls, we are continuing with our session. We are now moving on to section B, and we are going to be looking at DBE November 2019, question 2, right? We are going to be looking at question 2. Right, so it says, let me just go back. It says, study the graph below and answer the questions that follow. Let's go look at the graph. So there we are given a graph, and normally with graphs, the graphs come with a heading. This one says economic loss. As you can see, guys, from the graph there, this is our profit maximization E there, right? And this is our AR there. It's normally AR equals to D there, right? And straight down there, you look at our vertical axis where there is our demand curve and our AR curve. This is our price there. And where our profit maximization line touches our AC there, that is our cost there. So this is our price, this is our cost, and that's our quantity there. That is typically our economic loss graph. Let's go look at the questions now. The first question says, identify the market structure in the graph. Identify the market structure depicted in the graph there. Let's go back and look at the graph one more time. There is our graph there. Right. Guys, because our demand curve is horizontal, as you can see there, guys, this means that this is a perfect market structure because our demand curve is horizontal. Right. It means that it's our perfect market structure there. There is the answer. It says perfect market. In most cases, you need to be able to identify a market structure by given graphs there. So when you are given a graph, you need to have some idea or some defining item that makes you remember what kind of a market structure this is. In the case of this graph, because the demand curve is horizontal, you would know that it is a perfect market structure. If you were given, let's say, a demand curve like this, you would know that this is our oligopoly because of this demand curve. And again, if you are given a demand curve like this, then you would know that this is a monopoly because of the nature of the demand curve. So the demand curve of a monopoly, it is downward sloping, and then the one of an oligopoly, so I say this is oligopoly, and then this is monopoly. So that's how you identify your market structures there, right? Just keep that in mind, just in case you come across such a question in the exam. Right, now, let's go to the next question. It says, give the value of the market price depicted. Give the value of the market price depicted. Let's go look at the graph again. There is our graph there. Remember what I said earlier on when we started? We said our MR is equals to our AR is equals to our P, which is also equals to our demand. So our P there is the same as the MR there for a perfect market structure. So what is our market price there? As you can see, guys, our market price there is 50, right? So our market price there is 50 there. As you can see, that is our answer for 1 mark. If the question had asked you guys for the cost, right, the cost is from the profit maximization all the way up where we touch the vertical axis or the cost and revenue function. This is our cost. Our cost in this case would be 90. Our cost in this case would be 90 there. Right. The next question says, how will this equilibrium, right, let me just enable, right, how will this equilibrium position change in the long run or in the long term there, right? How will this equilibrium position change in the long run or in the long term? right? So basically, in the long run, or the equilibrium position will be where total revenue is equals to total cost, and the business will be making normal profit. In the long run, the business, the equilibrium position will be where total revenue is equals to total cost, and the business will be making normal profit. Now let's just look at a diagram quickly to explain what we just discussed there. So we have there a diagram of a monopoly, of a perfect competitor making a loss or economic loss. Now we are being asked to explain what's going to happen in the long run. One of the things that I need you to remember, boys and girls, for a perfect competitor is a perfect competitor is a price taker. So it takes whatever prevailing market price from the industry and it takes it as their own. So it sells at whatever prevailing market price is set by the industry there. Now let's just check. So this is where we were. So this is our individual producer. This is our industry there. So our industry, it had agreed at a price, or the forces of demand and supply had said our equilibrium was sitting at 50 there, which means that this perfect competitor was selling its products at 50 as well there. So our D equals to P equals to AR, also equals to MR, was sitting at 50 there. Right. Basically, I'm reconstructing the graph quickly. Right, this is our profit maximization, and there was our AC there. Right. So from the equilibrium, we go down. That was 100. And then we go all the way up, and we had 90 there. So this was our loss area, according to the graph that we're discussing there. So what happens is, as a result of the losses that the individual producer is experiencing, right, other firms in the industry are going to exit the market. They are going to be demotivated by the losses that they are experiencing. So they are going to exit the market. When they exit the market, two things are going to happen. Number one, our supply curve is going to shift from S to S1 there. So when our supply curve shifts from S to S1, it means we are supplying less there. And the second thing that's going to happen is our price, or we have a new equilibrium, and our price is going to go up there. We have a new price, and typically they will exit up until our price is sitting at 90 there. So our price has gone up there. And since now we have got a new price at 90, the individual producer is a price taker. They are going now to have to take this new equilibrium price of 90. So they are going now to have to sell their product at 90 there. That is now 90 becomes our new price there. So as you can see, guys, we have a new price 90. So this becomes P1 equals to D1 equals to AR1. We now have to sell at this new equilibrium price. As you can see, boys and girls, our AC and our AR are now equal. So what does it mean? It means now that the perfect competitor is experiencing normal profit, right? So it means that the perfect competitor is experiencing normal profit. Boys and girls, the opposite is also true. If, for example, we had started by experiencing economic profits, the same was going to happen. Economic profits were going to attract new entrants into the industry again, because there are no barriers to entry and exit. As more and more of them enter the market, right, our supply instead was going to go down from S probably to S2 there, and then up until eventually this perfect competitor is experiencing normal profit. So what is the conclusion, boys and girls? The conclusion is, in the long run, a perfect competitor will always experience normal profit. Whether you start by experiencing economic loss or you start by experiencing economic profit, in the long run, you will always experience normal profit there. So you need, guys, to familiarize yourself with this graph. If you can pause this, you can pause this and you can look at the graph once again, or you can look at your prescribed textbooks. Let them make you be familiar with this graph, so that should it come in the exam, you are able to explain what is going on there. Right, so that is the explanation there. Let's move on to the next question. The question says, what conditions must exist for this firm to shut down? What conditions must exist for this firm to shut down there? Right, now, what is the shutdown point basically of a perfect competitor? You need to be able to explain it in word and also by means of a diagram. Let's look at our solution. A perfect competitor or the firm will shut down if it's unable to cover its average variable cost. So a firm or the perfect competitor will shut down if it's unable to cover its AVC there, or its average variable cost. Quickly, this is the diagram. You need to be able to draw as well the shutdown point. What is our shutdown point, people? For a perfect competitor, the shutdown point is the point where so this is our shutdown point, our point where our MC is equals to our AVC there. Right, so we will shut down if we are not able to cover our average variable cost. That is our shutdown there. Remember, guys, again, shutdown point is also a typical essay. You need to be able to explain it, right, by means of a graph and also by words. Be able to explain what is the shutdown point there. This is also a good typical question you can expect there. Right, the next question, it says calculate the economic loss faced by this firm. Calculate the economic loss that is faced by this firm there for 4 marks. Remember, if it's a calculate question, I need you boys and girls to show me the full steps, all the working and everything else, show me there. Don't just write the answer. A lot of you guys, you just punch in the numbers and get the answer there. Right, so economic loss equals to total revenue minus total cost. Right, how do we find total revenue? It's price times quantity bracketed. How do we find total cost? Again, it's price, or it's cost, let me use cost there, cost times quantity there. Right, from the graph there, our price is 50, we've already identified that. Our quantity is 100 in brackets. Remember to put brackets so that you don't get confused. And our cost there is 90, and our quantity is the same. It's still 100 there. If you say 50 times 100, you get 5,000 minus 9,000, and you are going to get a negative there. The negative denotes that you are getting a loss there. So remember, I said show me working so that you earn full marks. As you can see, there are steps. I'm not marking the final answer, but I am marking the steps as you go. Why do we do this, boys and girls? We do this just in case in the exam you make a mistake and you get the final answer wrong. You're still going to get some marks there because your working is still correct there. So always show working. Right. There are 2 ways you can approach this. There's another method of calculating. Let's look at the other method there. There is the graph still. The other method, or the alternative answer, says, right, economic loss equals to AR minus AC times quantity there. Let's go back and identify, right? This is our AR there, where our MR is equals to AR, remember, right? Our AR is 50, our AC is 90. Can you see? Our profit maximization line where it touches AC there, that is our AC. And then our quantity function is 100 there, it's given. So you simply say AR less AC multiplied by quantity there. Now let's go. AR minus AC times quantity. Again, show working, right? So you get 50 less 90. We are substituting now, multiplied by 100. Remember to put brackets, and then you are going to get the answer as negative 4,000. The 2 methods should give you the same answer there. So whichever method, you don't have to do the 2 methods in the exam. Whatever you are comfortable with, right? You can use whatever method you're comfortable with there, right? That was our calculation for 4 marks typically in the exam. Very important marks that you cannot lose in the exam there. Right, let's go to our longer questions, the 8-mark questions there. Right, these are very important. Remember, boys and girls, these are defining marks in the exam, right? These are what defines what you are going to get in the exam, because they are longer and you get more marks for them, right? I'm going to cut it here before we go to our longer question. We are going to continue in the next segment.
Thank you, Tando. Matrix, let's take a quick break and then we'll see you straight after this.